Hey there, today I'm going to be talking a little bit about energy and how we can protect our energy. So, if we imagine that our body is our own personal energy, so we're just going to talk about that today. And sometimes we can feel depleted, or we can equally feel quite anxious and nervous and overexcited. But I want to talk to you today about I'm just going to give you a few tips on how you can protect your energy. So, if there are people in your life that drain your energy, or there are situations that you maybe haven't got a choice that you're in, just a few things that you can do to protect yourself so that you're not drawn in. It doesn't mean that you can't be compassionate, it doesn't mean that you can't be empathetic, but what it means is that you've got some clear tools on how you can just perhaps remove yourself when you notice that your personal energy is starting to dip. So, tip number one is this emotion yours or someone else's? So, as sensitive, empathic, perhaps caring, compassionate caregivers, and just lovely people, we can really absorb ourselves into other people's energies. So just think about your energy as a personal energy. There's energy all around you. But equally, if someone is having a really hard time, it could be a child, it could be a parent, it could be a really good friend, we can sometimes get ourselves into a situation where we start to actually take on their energy. So we actually start to feel it. And what happens with that is we start to notice that our energy levels dip, that we start to feel very tired and fatigued. Perhaps we don't eat very well. Perhaps we don't look after ourselves very well. So I invite you just to ask yourself the question, is this emotion, this feeling that I'm actually tuning into, is it mine or is it someone else's? And what you can do is still show compassion and love, but you can remove yourself slightly if it's not your emotion to just protect yourself, almost like a shield, like an invisible shield of showing compassion and empathy and love, but not actually getting in the hole with that person, not actually taking on board their emotion. Hope that makes sense. Number two is always go back to the breath. If you start to notice that your energy is dipping, or that somebody is zapping of your energy, or if there is a situation, I invite you to go back to your breath and perhaps come up with a mantra or an affirmation that's good for you. I am strong, I am safe, I am protected. Something along those lines, so that you get a sense of where you are and you can check in with yourself straight away. So let's go back to the breath. I also invite you to limit the physical touch. Perhaps if it's with a person. If you're naturally a hugger, and I can absolutely say I am a hugger, if your energy levels are low and you're hugging everybody or being very tactile, we can transfer our energy to them, which means they absorb our energy, leaving us depleted. So I invite you to maybe just protect your energy, maybe just keep that. There's something called, have you heard of arm's length? And if you imagine a protective bubble all around where we're keeping people slightly at arm's length, it doesn't mean we have to be unkind, it doesn't mean that we're not there for them. Just think about protecting your physical energy. Also, having very clear boundaries on things with certain people. So if your energy is low and it's depleted, maybe after 8 o'clock at night you don't answer messages on your phone, or maybe you don't answer them before 10 o'clock in the morning. Maybe you limit the amount of time that you spend with people, particularly people that you find perhaps are needing of your attention. Have you ever been with somebody and you come away and you feel very depleted in energy? Maybe you set yourself an amount of time. And I know that's not always easy, but we can do this with care and we can do it with love. We don't have to be rigid about it, and we can do it gradually so that we do slightly less time with people that we find are hard to be around. If there's a situation, perhaps we set clear boundaries on how often we open ourselves up to put us in that situation. Remember, we can control how we show up. We can control how we feel. So maybe you step away from something that makes you feel uncomfortable. And that isn't by running out of the room, but sometimes we need to let people know that they're affecting us. Sometimes it's just excusing yourself politely from something. Maybe it's popping to the loo, or I need to go and check. I've been waiting on an email from somebody. I need to go and check that and I'll come straight back to you. I also find that being in water is a really good detox and can really boost the energy. You can let go of other people's energies, but you can always boost your energies. So that might be taking an Epsom salt bath, a nice bubble bath with candles, and just allowing the water to just really feel and have a mindful bath, really allowing everything that's not serving you to wash down the plug hole. And last but not least, sometimes taking non-action can be a very hard thing to do, but it can also be very empowering. So if you're in a situation where there's a person that particularly is depleting you of your energy, is making you feel very tired, or it's making you feel really sad, and you feel that you have done everything in your power to help this person or resolve this situation, sometimes, just sometimes, we need to step away and take non-action. And that probably goes against everything that you feel you should. Remember, should is S-H-I-T, should be doing. But take back that power and just think, actually, maybe by doing nothing, that's going to help me, because you're number one priority. And it might just empower that person to think or do something for themselves. So if I invite you to think about a situation where you find you've done pretty much everything you feel you can to help this person, help this situation, but now it's got to a point where you just feel perhaps you've got a great big a bruise on your forehead. Perhaps it's time to consider non-action, stepping into your power, stepping into your flow. And it might be that that person notices gently, but you haven't actually had to say or do something, and they get to show up differently because you're not there sorting it and fixing it and making sure that everything is okay. So there's just a few strategies to help you with your energy, to protect your energy. And watch this space, because I think I'm going to just record a nice protection visualization at some point. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope those few strategies will just help you think before you act. Really tune into the body, and above all, I really invite you to get outside. Getting outside just fills your cup. It fills your personal energy. It helps you be creative. It just helps you get into the parasympathetic nervous system where you can start to rejuvenate, restore and heal. So I would always invite you to get outside. Sometimes we don't feel like it, but trust me, getting outside, I've literally come in from being outside, I've written a very short poem, and I've now hopped on to do this live, and I've got no notes. I've got a couple of things in front of me that I just wanted to remind me to say to you. But there's something very powerful about just filling your energy up with the outside nature. Listening to the birds' song, just seeing the colours, noticing the wind, feeling the sun. It's not a lot of sun today, but just noticing, using all the senses. So I invite you to enjoy the 5 senses on your next mindful walk. I hope that was useful. Hope you took something from that. Sending you lots of love. Speak to you soon.